All right, so a couple of things to start with. The mask mandate is now not a mandate, it is voluntary, and I love it. I see there's many scholars who still wear their masks, and I'm sure that's from either parent counsel to them. One thing, moms and dads, grandmas, everybody out there, we're not buying any more masks, and we're not providing them at the gate anymore. If you want your scholar to wear a mask, please provide it and have them bring it to school, which is by and large what's happening right now. The COVID numbers are changed, as I said a couple of weeks ago, and it's continuing to slide down nicely. So, but today, what we want to talk about is the Paideia's anti-bully pro-social program. So I want to get right into Paideia Academies. We have a different approach to our pro-social behavior. It's very planned, it's very organized, it's very intentional. My problem and where I've fallen down, and I was reminded of that over the last couple of weeks with another mom, that I haven't really made that clear and haven't clearly communicated it to all of our staff. So one of the goals was today is to clearly communicate it to our community. We are doing some training and some reminders with our staff about what we are and what we do. So really our anti-bully is a pro-social campaign, and the leader in me and our whole person, body, mind, heart, and spirit paradigm is the center of that. That's the foundation of our program. So it's based upon 3 key elements to promote a pro-social culture. Number 1 is we really focus on a proactive leadership and restorative practices. We want to, the first word in our mission statement is empower our scholars. So in the proactive leadership, we want to eliminate these unkind behaviors, not only bullying, of course, but even the unkind behaviors, and that promotes a proactive culture, pro-social skills in all of our daily activities, in our curriculum, programs, and the Leader in Me program. Now, restorative practices, I hope Caitlin will address that in more depth. But proactive practices really it's non-punitive. That's not our style. We're not punishers. Now, I will expel a child, and I've expelled 3 this year and many over the last years, but it's not a punishment-centric program. Really, it's about restoring relationships, restoring the culture. Now, the second part is to clearly and quickly address aggressive behaviors, provide aid and assistance to the victim, corrective actions to the aggressor, and the clear communication to families of victims and the aggressors. Number 3 part is we want to make sure this is everyone's responsibility to be proactive in eliminating the bullying and unkind behaviors. We have a program called Stand Up, Speak Up. We'll go over in a moment. First, what is bullying? My worry is, and what's happened in the past, is that if everything is labeled bullying, then nothing is bullying. There's got to be this separation so that we know really when to amp up our intervention. But if everything is bullying, then it's just too much and we can't figure out where to go and what to do. Bullying has 2 key components. First component, repeated harmful acts over time. And the second part is an imbalance of power. It's repeated physical, repeated verbal or emotional attacks, or the intimidation directed against a victim who really can't properly defend him or herself because of the size or the strength or psychological advantage of the aggressor over the victim. Second, it includes, of course, assault, tripping, intimidation, rumor spreading and isolation, demands of money, destroying property, all these things, theft, destroying another person's work, name calling. In the United States, there's several other school behaviors which are illegal, and we take quick and swift action on these, such as sexual harassment, ostracism based upon any perceived sexual orientation, or excessive and chronic teasing and taunting. Cyberbullying, in our new age, we have actually experienced this, and we take swift action with a long-term suspension, and immediately these people are brought to an expulsion hearing who engage in this. Cyberbullying is any form of harassment, threats, intimidation, or bullying that takes place using electronic technology, cell phones, computers, tablets, whatever. One of the pushbacks I've gotten in the past is, well, this is not even on campus. That doesn't matter. If it involves a scholar to scholar within our community, then it is cyberbullying. Another pushback is in our definition, if one scholar posts something on Instagram, Snapchat, all those different platforms, and another person pushes the like button or comments on it or shares it, or all those different things, that person becomes as guilty as the person who initiated the cyberbullying. And all those people, and there's been a couple of incidents where there's been up to, I don't know, 5 or 6, all of those receive the same level of discipline and corrective action, and up to expulsion, of the person who originated it. Examples of cyberbullying: mean text messages or emails, rumors posted, embarrassing pictures, videos, websites, fake profiles. There's been threats, like veiled threats, that have gone over those platforms. Cyberbullying of any scholar at Paideia, regardless of the time that it was initiated, whether it's during school, which we're not supposed to have our cell phones anyway, or if it's at night, on the weekend, in the summer, I don't care. If you are engaged, if the scholar's engaged in that, they'll receive the same consequences as if it was done at school.
Because it will inevitably impact how they're, how they're performing at school or interacting at school, even if it doesn't happen during the school day.
Yeah, it is a terrible disruption in the life of the child and the life of the school. You're right. Now, what is not bullying? Not bullying is not all taunting. Now, I don't want to minimize it. It's unkind and it's not right. We don't want this, but it does not rise to the level of bullying. Taunting, teasing, or fighting among school children, that doesn't always constitute bullying. For example, 2 persons of approximate same age, strength, emotion, psychological advantage, they're quarreling, fighting, bickering, saying, "I'm not your friend." That's not bullying. Bullying entails, again, the repeated and chronic acts by someone perceived more powerful physically or emotionally over another person. For example, if somebody comes home and they tell you, "I don't really like this guy, I don't like her anymore," and you hear about that other person saying that, that's not bullying. Or refusing to share a playground ball or an activity. It's not bullying unless there's an advantage and it's chronic over time and there's a physical or psychological advantage. This happens more frequent than I like. But it says, "I don't want to be your friend anymore." That's not bullying unless those other 2 elements are present. A disagreement between scholars. Teasing, it's unkind. We don't want it. We're trying to mitigate that, intervene. It's not bullying unless. Even fighting, it's not tolerated. It's not bullying unless there's that other element involved. Now, while the above circumstances are not bullying, we have to admit they're unkind. We don't want them, and it's certainly not the Paideia way. And we should address these circumstances, but not in the full-scale, intense way we would with true bullying behaviors. I have to go through retaliation. So we also, somebody will say, "Don't tell on me, or else I will, blah, blah, blah." That's retaliation. Somebody who reports a bullying incident and the other person then intimidates or threatens, gets other people around them, that's retaliation, and it will result in swift discipline up to and including expulsion from Paideia. Now, here's an area a good mom brought to my attention some weeks ago, that she asked for the bully report form, and bless our hearts, the staff didn't know what she's talking about. I take that was my responsibility. I take that as my bad, that was me. So now everybody knows about the report form. It is available in the front office of both campuses. If you feel like your child is being bullied, I want you to come and talk to us. Now, we're going to counsel through it. And if it doesn't rise to the bullying, we're going to counsel through that, but we'll still take care of the issue.
Mhm.
We're required to report it. And then the report goes to the principal or a designated person who's responsible to take care of that business. The investigation and corrective and disciplinary actions. When we receive the report, we promptly start an investigation. When a parent calls me and it tells me about an incident, it sounds like it rises to the elevation of bullying, I'm telling you, I stop all business, and that next morning I greet that scholar at the gate, make sure that scholar's feeling protected and it's safe and loved, and then we go into our investigation mode. Now, if we determine that bullying or retaliation has occurred, what we do is we notify the parents and the guardians of the target of the bullying. To the extent we can, because there's privacy laws, we can notify the parent of any other acts or what we're doing. But because of the FERPA laws, privacy laws, we can't say this guy's gone on probation or this person's going to be suspended or this person. I can't go into that. It's against the law. We also then notify and meet with the parents of the aggressor. Naturally, we take appropriate corrective and disciplinary action. We notify if it rises to the occasion, which it has just once in my memory, that we notify the law enforcement agency, the police. They come over and then they start the investigation from there, and they take it on all the way. So here's where I want Caitlin to be with this. I want to talk about what is the foundation. What are we doing at Paideia to create a pro-social culture, an environment that prevents this kind of behavior? There you go.
Is that my cue? All right. I know you have some things listed on here, so I can talk about the 7 habits, but kind of the idea is that not only do we want to say like, don't bully, don't be mean, don't, but we want to say, this is what we want you to do, like replacement. This is how we want you to be proactive in showing kindness to people, in showing kindness to yourself, in being a leader. So all these things that we do, we do leadership lessons. Different teachers do that different ways sometimes. Everybody has a mission statement. Everybody at the school, kindergarten to 6th grade over here and 7th or 9th grade across the street, has reflected on what kind of person do I want to be within their mission statement. So we're talking about the 7 habits, and particularly when we're talking about these pro-social behaviors, for me, it's coming to being proactive, habit 1, and habit 5, seeking to understand and to be understood, and leadership roles. So everybody is feeling a part of this community. Everybody's feeling like I have a place here. I have a role. I have a purpose, and that's our hope with the leader in me, and the 7 habits to promote being pro-social.
Tell us a little bit about restorative practices. This is new in the last 2 years for Paideia.
Yeah, so we are, learning and growing too. We're wanting to give the skills. Like I said, it's not just like, don't do this and go away, but we're wanting to help teach the skills for having positive relationships, how to manage conflict and move past it. So we do that on a few different levels. One is that we have circles. We call them circles, from Circle Forward, and we go into the classrooms. I'll go in, or teachers do this sometimes as well, just within their homerooms or their class, to have a conversation about different topics. And what this does is it gives everybody a chance to share either how they're feeling about a specific topic or just in general for the day. It gives everyone a safe space to express themselves. Because when I'm holding the talking piece, it's only my turn to share. No one can correct me or jump in or interrupt. It's just my safe space to share. And taking that to a smaller scale, when we do have conflict, unkindness going on, we will bring in scholars to our offices and have these what we're calling restorative mini sessions. So we're giving everyone a chance to say what happened, how it made me feel, and what do I want to see moving forward, and coming up with solutions. So this has happened. I've had myself and 2 other scholars in here, up to 4 other scholars in here, just depending on who's involved, and just giving everyone a chance. Again, it's a safe space. We're teaching scholars how to do reflective listening, repeating back what you heard someone say, so you make sure that you really understood them, and then coming up with the solutions. The solutions are sometimes like, well, this is how we can interact positively. Sometimes the solutions are, here's a boundary that I need, here's a something that I don't want to see moving forward, and both parties or all parties can agree on that. So another thing that we are using a lot is the recovery stations. I think those have been around for a while, Dr. Winsor, before me, definitely, but we're trying to give scholars a chance to remove themselves from the class, to reflect on how they're feeling, and in order to be able to come back to class and to recover and come back to learning. I don't know if you want to say more about the recovery stations.
I want to stretch a little bit on the restorative mini sessions.
Oh yeah.
Those are done right in the moment of trauma. When 2 kids or 3 kids are quarreling, it loses its effectiveness if we wait a day or 2. It's best just to bring them together and then breathe through the crisis, breathe through the misunderstandings, and then teach them the skill of how to talk through this. Oftentimes what's happened is the more they talk with each other, the more they find they have things in common. I remember I had some boys in here, and one boy said there was an unkind thing said about dads in the class. This boy got angry because his dad's in the military, and he's afraid. The other kids started making fun of him. It just revved out of control. Sitting him down here, we discovered that all the boys have had challenges with missing their dads, and it became this very emotional moment of understanding. Now, that was a few weeks ago. Those issues are resolved. They understood, oh, I shouldn't make those comments to you because because of this situation. And because I've had parents tell me, don't do that talk stuff. Don't do the talk stuff. Just suspend somebody. And I'm like, I don't think that's the right way to go. I love talking through it and teaching them the skills.
Because really what, circle groups do in the class, and even our mini sessions, is it helps scholars to see the humanity in another person. When they're hearing a feeling that they relate to, they're like, oh, wow. Because I think, we just sometimes forget that we're all human. And what you're saying about
empathy levels rise, which now understanding, empathy, and love goes on. So.
And we want to build empathy. That's what we want to do, especially with any kind of conflict, and with bullying, is we want to help people understand the impact they're having.
Hey, you know what else when you get after the peace table, I got one thing to say.
Okay.
I don't know.
You want me to go to the peace table?
Sure, yeah.
So the peace table is something that has been recent, and I think it's hopefully the transition period where we give the scholars skills through these restorative mini sessions, and through the classroom, for the teachers do this too, for how to talk through something, how to express themselves using I statements, owning their own feelings and their own experiences. And the peace table is a place where we can have the scholars sit and allow them to have this communication with themselves. So hopefully we're teaching them the skills that they can now have a safe space at what we call a peace table to be able to work it out, work through those things on their own as they need to.
So my takeaway from our practices of restorative practices is that we're not just interested in solving that problem immediately, that immediate problem. That's important, but that's not the end in mind. The greater end in mind is thinking about these scholars when they're in their teens, or when they're parents, or when they're in relationships and struggling with communication.
Mm-hmm.
We're giving them the skills that will last them a lifetime, whether it's in relationships, whether it's at work, whether it's at the university, in the military, you know, wherever they are, these skills can follow them, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, what else are we doing? Morning assembly.
Oh, you want me to? Okay.
I'll take this one. Every
Okay.
morning is one of my favorite times of the day for the last 10 years. This week we got back to it in person, morning assembly in the Caffeinasium. There's such a powerful start to our day of unity around our mission statement, unity around the idea of leadership and the idea of supporting each other. Every morning, we also have a mindfulness moment led by Mrs. Smith. So tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah, we are wanting, you know, mindfulness is just being able to practice being aware of how I'm doing right in this moment. So we're wanting to promote mindfulness. You know, at a morning assembly, teachers are doing it. We have all sorts of different materials to help scholars practice mindfulness. And when we're practicing it proactively, then when things happen in the moment, you know, emotional things, you know, we can better take control of how we respond. So that's why we're doing that. You know, it's not just deep breathing, although we do practice that, but it's being aware of our whole body, our emotions, our thoughts, non-judgmentally, just accepting how we are in this moment. And so once we practice that awareness over and over again, then in those moments when there is a struggle, there is a challenge, I can have more control about how I choose to respond to it.
Right, that's a key. Because then I have control over my response.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Every morning for the 10 years we've been here, I've made sure that I greet from 7:30, 7 to 7:30. I'm selfishly, I take the gate. I know that other people can, but when I know I can greet every scholar that comes through the gate, I know every one of them. I know who might be struggling, so I can give them an extra added hug or a high five or a specific greeting. I know those who are struggling with emotions of feeling like they need to be aggressive. I give them that morning moment to say, hey, how are we going to do today? And I have faith in you. Encouragement. Then at 7:30, different teachers rotate through that duty assignment. It gives them the opportunity to greet them and show love and enjoyment for the beginning of the day. Now, every time we enter the classroom, every teacher, we're supposed to, it's different levels of effective implementation, but the scholars line up outside the class, outside the door of the hallway. The teacher gives a message of love and hope, and I'm glad you're here with me. The kids enter the classroom, giving a little high five or a knuckle bump. They enter the classroom quietly. We have 5 minutes of silence while they do their do now. It's just a systematic way to create peace and joy in our building. We do have a program called Peaceful Playground. Coming back from the pandemic, we need some more training on that. I will acknowledge that, and I'm working on getting that back up to where it needs to be. Just candidly with our community, I will let you know. And the challenge has also been finding and keeping good staff members. And in the playground, we have 2 or 3 who have always been here, but we need 4. And so it's keeping that person, keeping the consistency of personnel, has been a challenge for us. We have in the past had new scholar introduction passport, where a Scholar Lighthouse team member has then taken on a younger scholar who's new to Paideia, just to be that bigger brother, bigger sister friend, and lead them around and make sure they have a connection. We'll get back to that. Some of the scholars who are struggling over time, they receive what's called a Scholar Success Guide. It's really a tier 3, or what's another word for tier 3? Higher intensity intervention.
Yeah.
And it's just for a few scholars who are struggling. So we put them on a Scholar Success Guide, and that pinpoints certain proactive behavior skills. It slices up their day into manageable pieces where we can take data on when and where and what's happening throughout the scholar's day. It also, over time, if the scholar is not responding to this intervention and the parent is not responding, because this is a holistic intervention, that's when pretty soon the scholar might be let go from Paideia if they're not responding. We also have a program in the past we've done called Scholar Leadership Mentoring. You want to address this a little bit, Caitlin?
Yeah, we have had older scholars who I think most of them have been at Paideia for a while, or they at least understand their leadership program, their leadership notebooks, and their mission statement and the 7 habits. And they'll meet with scholars that are younger than them at, various age levels to try to coach them in that, to teach them how to interact with their peers and how to be a leader in the classroom and at recess. And so it's nice to have, not an adult, but an older kid that they can look up to for those kinds of things.
And it's fun that in the cadre of scholar leaders, there's a couple of them that have been on success guides themselves in their earlier years, and they've risen up and have really changed how they do things. We also, just really quick, we do a school connectedness survey. We've done it for 2 years. The new data is just coming out to see how we're doing with social connectedness. We have the upcoming next year, I want to announce that we'll have more community education workshops. We also want to include in there this idea of what does bullying mean, what's non-social or destructive behaviors, what do we do at home to help mitigate that, intervene, what do we do at school. I would love for the family, we have a family lighthouse team that has not been active for 2 years. We need to redo that one so I get more family involvement at Paideia. All right, last one. So we have had in the past a program called Stand Up, Speak Up. The idea is that we empower the students that stand up anytime, anywhere, anyone who hears or sees unkind acts or language. It's our duty to stand up and stand by that person. So it's like walk up to the targeted person, stand shoulder to shoulder with that person, and make the person feel safe, maybe an arm around the shoulder, and then speak up. Anytime, anywhere, anyone who sees or hears unkind acts or language, it's our duty to hold up a hand and say, hey, 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 well, we don't like that. We don't like that. We just want to be friends, and then walk away. So I think if we have it, because we have a lot of great kids here. I mean, the vast majority, they're all great kids. They just haven't been empowered to show that love and to help each other. So we're going to reinstitute that, do some training. Now, if that doesn't resolve that aggressive behavior, then it's everybody's responsibility to report that to the teacher, the principal, or an adult authority. We are committed. I am committed to the safety, body, mind, heart, and spirit of our community. If you are concerned, please give me a call. My phone number is 602-343-3040. My extension is 3070. My email address is bwindsor@paideiamail.com. And one of my challenges is that I can't fix what I don't know, you know, and so a parent will come and be ramped up at me, and the scholar's telling me one thing and going home and telling the parent something different, you know. So the parent gets upset and which they do. I would. I'm a dad, and they come over and we have to just come together and communicate better.
Yeah, I think we want to work as a team, and that's the main thing, is we want to be a team with the parents and with the scholar. So please tell us, because we want everyone to feel safe here so that they can learn here. So we can work together on it. So just let us know. We're for you and want to support.
Parents,
so
come and see me. Put your anger away. Just come and sit at my table and let's have a discussion about it and let's seek some understanding. And I promise you, we go to action. I can't act on things I don't know. So come and see me. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Any questions or comments? Anybody want to chime in? We do have a couple of events coming. We're finally back to having events. On April the 1st is our second annual tree planting. We have 8 trees to plant. And so we need a lot of parent help to get the holes dug. We have some learning stations about nature and about different trees in Arizona and the desert. So come on the April 1st. We're all open for the community to come on campus. If you feel like you need to mask up. It's totally optional for you to do that. All right, if you have any other topics you'd like us to address, please let me know. In April, we're going to address heat mitigation and what we can do to keep us safe through the summer months of All right, thank you, Mrs. Smith, so much for your wisdom.
Thank you.
All right, guys, next week.
Have a good weekend.